Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone.
Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day. It's a good day.
Yes, let's make Earth Day every day.
We really should. So it's I'm Gigi from Making Vegans and Middle Georgia USA Health Safe. We're here with Learning While Growing to answer any questions you may have. We are with Armando and Candice.
Yes.
And
we are excited to be here with you, for sure.
And we just want to, talk a little bit, address a little bit about what we're doing and how it benefits the earth. Today is Earth Day. We are trying to promote sustainable living with our program. So we just want to talk a little bit about how that really does help our earth and why it is sustainable. And so along with that, we're going to go ahead and talk about how about composting. Can we talk about composting? Because we were talking to Candice earlier before going live, and she has some really neat things going on at her place. She's keeping so much out of the landfill. She's doing so much. Candice, why don't you share with us what it is that
we are doing an Earth Day giveaway today, and the winner has to guess how many pounds that we've picked up since we started. And we started on December 3rd with a pickup of 9 pounds and 2 ounces. And now the total pounds that we've picked up is 9,700 pounds. That's almost 5 tons that we've diverted from the landfill. But imagine if half of your trash got turned into soil for local farmers instead of going to the landfill, because that's what composting is. You can take half of your trash and turn it into something useful instead of just, throwing it away and letting it emit greenhouse gases in the landfill. So if you composted, you wouldn't fill the landfill up as quickly, which means that we wouldn't have to close it and build another one further away, which cuts down on hauling distances, which cuts down on carbon emissions, which cuts down on climate change. And then if you give your compost to local farmers to complete the local food cycle, that means less hauling because you're getting your food locally instead of from further away, which reduces those carbon emissions, which reduces climate change. And then, of course, if you compost, your organic matter is not sitting in the landfill, releasing those greenhouse gases, which cuts down on climate change.
That is what is making this sustainable,
right?
We're completing a cycle.
Yes.
So nothing is really being wasted here. Everything is being reused and repurposed. It's just changing forms, and you're just continuing that cycle as opposed to, having to create, use more space inefficiently, because just to have space filled with garbage is not an efficient use of our land either.
And soil is a non-renewable resource, which nobody ever thinks about, but where does it come from?
Right. And I think also it's important that you mentioned that, Candice, because we need to start rebuilding our soil. Unfortunately, the current way that we do agriculture, we keep on using soil, destroying soil, losing soil. But as long as we continue to using pesticides and artificial nutrients for the soil, we're just going to continue losing it. Instead of using compost like you are doing, and you're helping the community to make compost from their scraps, from their food scraps, making that circle of life, you're going to continue losing soil. And I think, don't quote me, but I think it was by 2030 that some scientists are saying that we're not going to have enough soil to continue growing food if we continue doing things as we are doing right now.
Right. And if you keep using the same soil over and over, your plants are not going to be the best quality. Like you have to amend the soil to get better quality plants.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to know that, you know, people are like, oh, by myself, I can't make a difference. But here you are, one person job, you know, one person team, you've been collecting almost 10,000 pounds of food scraps, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's totally amazing. One person, like Armando said, one person. So I mean, that's a difference.
Yeah. I mean, imagine how many months has it been? 4 months. At the end of the year, I'll have diverted 30,000 pounds. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's great. And if you think about that, you know, if we all were composting, if we all were doing this, what a big difference that would really make.
Right.
Especially, like you said, if we're keeping these things in our communities, and like Armando said, you know, we will be rebuilding our own community. You know, we will be rebuilding the soil in our own community. We will be, there's just so many aspects involved that these small things that you can do for yourself at home really do end up adding up and making a huge difference.
Yes,
Does everybody
absolutely.
know what non-renewable means?
It
means that it cannot be replenished in a human's lifetime. So, you know, got to make our own soil.
I didn't know that.
You did? Okay. I mean, no, I wasn't. You know what I meant.
Yeah. No, but it's good to know. I mean, sometimes, and again, we are all learning. None of us here are, we don't know it all, right? So,
yeah.
And that's why we are encouraging our viewers to also share their ideas and share their stories with us so we can continue learning from one another. But Candace, I know you also recycle as well besides composting. So
right.
Not just food related recycling, which is composting, but you also recycle materials.
I recycle catalogs, I recycle paperboard, and glass, and you know, just whatever cardboard I can, because I'd rather recycle than have them make new cardboard from more trees.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wanted to mention too, because when we did our seed planting, you know, a lot of times you buy dirt to, you know, the seed starting dirt and all.
Right.
I know, Candace, you've just been using the compost.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I guess I'm leaving, but I just want to say that hers was doing much better than mine, and I think it sprouts than I did, and I think that the compost has to do with that, because she was using compost, it was better quality or maybe higher nutritional content than
the compost has more plant growth hormones and more nutrients than regular potting soil.
So we're actually seeing that difference in this vertical gardening experiment that we're running. Because I think I planted mine before Candace did hers, and she has more sprouts than I do.
Not a competition.
No, I know.
But I'm winning.
Well, we're running these experiments because we want to see too. We want to be able to advise people, so that, you know, if you can make your own compost, you're better off in your own garden than
Right.
if you buy the dirt or the soil. I mean, at least in this experiment, we're seeing that the ones planting in compost are doing better than the ones that were planted in the store-bought soil. So yeah, I wanted to point that out, because I think that is that's important to note.
Yeah.
So it's just good all around. But I do have some more. I know the last time we spoke, I think I might have had like one little seedling sprouting, but now I have more.
Hey!
More. Finally, but it's all on one side. So I think too that obviously the sun plays a part, but I think I think I'm just getting more sun on one side than I'm getting on the other side.
Yeah.
So like I think I only have like one sprout on the right side of the vertical gardening sheet, but on the other side, I have several now. So
yeah, usually it has a lot to do with the sun and also the temperature, because sometimes it could be like just a difference of a few inches, and it gets more heat, more a higher temperature. So the sprouts do usually grow faster when the temperature is higher. That's why some people use heating mats underneath the seedlings to increase the temperature, and it increases the rate of sprouting and reduces the time of sprouting.
You just have to make sure you keep them moist though, because it dries them out really quickly.
Right.
Actually, my children are in charge of the vertical garden, and they're doing a great job.
I also found that with the growing mat, you can also create more fungus because the temperature is a little bit higher, so the fungus grows more quickly. So you have to make sure it's also ventilated. There's air circulating.
Now, one thing I did have, I do have a question. Armando, I know you just got the setup or the sheets for that, but I was, as far as watering it is concerned, I know we've just been watering it with just a regular, like watering can, but I'm wondering if there's a better way to water that garden, that vertical gardening. I mean, I've seen setups where they have like tubes and the water comes out, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that, and how are you doing the irrigation for it?
I probably will use a watering can too, just to make sure I don't damage the plants with the watering hose, or wash out the soil with the watering hose. It's easier to control the pressure.
I think when I mentioned the hose, I was seeing it, people poke little holes in it, and they
like a watering hose. That could work too. Yeah. I was just
seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. And you're wasting hose.
I have just been using the hose pipe on shower.
What kind of hose? Like a PVC pipe?
No, just like the regular water hose.
Oh, like a nozzle?
With a nozzle that has a shower setting.
Okay. Yeah, that works too. As long as it's not like in really high pressure.
No.
That could do some damage.
No.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch upon, we just had here in Georgia a huge downpour of rains, and I keep my seeds outside. I started the seeds, and I had them at the, in the little containers, but I kept it all outside. And they're doing okay. They were affected somewhat things because they are. You okay, Candace?
Yes. I didn't fall. The phone fell. The seedlings, they actually, I was worried. I thought that because we did lose a lot of dirt from the downpour, it was just pouring on there. But a couple days later, I see that they're okay. But what is your now I know New Jersey is a lot
colder climate than what we have down here. But what is your take or your opinion on when you are starting these seeds, outdoors, when you have the small seedlings, and what do you recommend people do before like a storm comes or before these big, rains come, to protect their plants?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, things happen, right? Nature is powerful, and sometimes you are going to lose plants. Sometimes the plants will get damaged. But that's one of the benefits of when you are in a warmer climate to start your seeds outside, because when the seeds are started outside, they tend to be more resilient and they tend to be stronger comparing to starting your seeds indoors. When they are outside, they have the wind, so they start getting their stalks get thicker, and they are able to resist to the winds and to the rain a lot better than if they are grown indoors. Also, in terms of the soil, I would recommend to have some sort of ground cover. So you can do wood chips, you can do straw, you can do have other plants that would grow just in the surface of the soil to protect that soil from soil erosion, so from running away. And the other thing would be to try to cover them as best as you can during a storm, right? Especially if they are in an open area where the wind can come in really strong. Try to protect them somehow. At the same time, you're going to be careful, because if you're putting something on top of them and the wind takes that away or breaks that, and then it falls on top of your plants, then it really defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
But so just try to protect the plants from the wind as best as you can. It could either be like putting maybe a tarp on the sides to protect some of the wind from coming from the sides. But I mean, Mother Nature is powerful, and it will do its thing. If you have to replant things again, just do that. Any ideas, Candace?
For the plants in the ground, I mean, they did fine, but the plants that I planted in a planter, I put a layer of leaves on the bottom and a layer of mulch on top of that, and then the soil, so that it's not just all just sitting there. It can drain really quickly. Like the water can drain really quickly.
Right. But you don't mix in, like, let's say if you did a wood chips, you don't mix in the wood chips with the soil, right? Because that would suck in all the nitrogen from the soil.
I do like a
bottom layer, right?
Right. It's not really like touching the soil.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear to our millions, our audience of millions, that we don't mix in the wood chips with the soil, because they will remove the nutrients from the soil. We just put it underneath the soil, and then if anything on top. We don't mix in the wood with the soil when it's ready to plant.
And then I wanted to attract some worms also.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That will also maybe attract some slugs. At least in my area it does. So, just plant extra. Keep some stuff for the slugs to eat. At the same time, it's funny that you mentioned what to do with the new seedlings and when to plant them, because here in Jersey, usually the recommended planting time is April 25th, which is in 3 days. And my neighbors on both sides of the house, they planted tomatoes. They bought the store-bought tomatoes. They were probably like a foot high. Tomatoes, peppers, lettuce. And we had a night that we went down to the 30s.
Oh no!
So there was a frost. There was frost in the morning. So guess what happened to all those plants? They're all dead right now.
Oh man.
Yeah. So first of all, follow the frost date.
Yeah.
Second, sometimes when you buy things from the store, leave them in the pot for a few days before you put them in the soil, let them acclimate, because sometimes they come from greenhouses and they're still not used to the cold. They're still very tender. They didn't get used to it. It's almost like you coming from Mexico, right, where it's really hot in the winter, in the summer here. I mean, coming from Mexico, let's say, or from a really warm country, and you come here in January, you know, it's almost just like the same thing. You're gonna come here, it's like, oh man, I can't handle this right now. But we are fortunate to have clothing and everything. The plants don't have any of that. So being aware of the frost dates and looking at the weather patterns, just to make sure they don't put anything in the soil, in the ground, outside, and then there's a frost night and everything dies like it did. And you know, you spend money on those plants. You know, they probably spent over $100.
Right. Yeah.
On all those plants. The only thing that survived were some of the lettuces, because lettuce is a little more
Hardy.
hardy. Yeah. So all the tomatoes and peppers, they're completely dead. They got freezing burn.
What is your opinion then on, because I know one thing about sustainability is that we do want to keep things local. So what's your take on that in gardening? Because I know every region has things that grow better than others. You know, I went through a master naturalist course. I was certified as a master naturalist through UGA Extension. And I know that in their programs, they always do try to promote, and this is one of the things that you learn, is the plants that are native to your region. So whatever extension program you go to, if you go through one of these programs, you know, that's one of the things that are just local. And the things that are considered invasive that are non-native, that you really don't want in the area, because these non-native plants many times become invasive, which means they take over where local plants would be thriving normally.
Right.
But now these other plants are there, so the local plants can't really thrive. But I think you take that knowledge into gardening, right? And if you plant things, sorry. If you plant things that are, you know, local, they grow better, right? They're hardier. They do better during the season. But what is your take on planting things, because you know, that aren't, you know, maybe having a greenhouse and growing things that way? I mean, you think it's better to plant local things when you're doing your own garden, you know, as far as your foods, your fruits and vegetables, or?
Yeah. Do you want to take that first, Candace, or you want me to go first?
I think it's, you know, better to focus on the locally grown things, because it's going to take a lot of time and resources for you to focus on these, you know, trying to get these other plants to grow. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I have an avocado tree growing downstairs, and I know that if it doesn't stay indoors in the winter, especially, it will die. So that is a lot of work, bringing plants in and out, in and out, in and out. And I know it will never give fruits, but I'm just doing it for fun. And it's also a family thing. It's personal, but I would recommend also to look at your Master Gardener's extension, and each state will have their own calendar and list of things that will grow in your zone, right? So, I mean, tomatoes is like a staple. Tomatoes will almost grow anywhere where there's sun and a little bit of warmth. A lot of the leafy greens will grow very well as well. But obviously, if I'm trying to grow something tropical like avocados and mangoes in New Jersey, it's not going to happen.
We can't even grow citrus in Georgia. We're above the line.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's important to look at those, what are they called? It's not growing zones. Hardiness zones?
Yes.
Hardiness zones. So, and I know these topics are not very kid friendly. They're a little more advanced. But if you are a younger one of the younger ones, and you don't know what to plant, ask your parents to help you, contacting a volunteer master gardeners in your county, in your city, in your state, and they will tell you what to grow. And like Gigi did, sometimes they'll even send you seeds from that are local, because they do save seeds as well. So that is my recommendation. And again, when you go out to a hardware store, right? One of the big hardware stores, and they sell plants. You know, sometimes those are grown many states away. For some reason, sometimes they even sell fruit trees, for example, that won't even grow in your state, which sometimes it doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
why are you selling a lemon tree?
Right.
Yeah, I'm a big
money on those, and then it ends up dying.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm big on saving your own seeds from the things that you have grown before, or even on Facebook. There's seed exchange groups they're local. Somebody just invited me to one, and I'm trying to give somebody lemon balm, even though it grows very quickly and almost anywhere. A lot of people don't have lemon balm, and it's great for your health and to make tea. So saving seeds is another way to make sure you grow your own things and you are in control of that food, and you know that you will have it for the years to come.
Yeah, I want to mention too about the extension programs. They usually are the ones who do the 4-H programs.
Right.
Schools. So, and they also the gardeners programs usually have seed exchanges as well. So as a young person, like Armando said, you can ask your parents to help you contact the extension program, or if you're maybe a little bit older, younger person, like a teen, you can contact them yourself through the 4-H program. You can probably speak with a teacher directly at school. Let's give it back to school. And they can help guide you as well. They will have those resources available for you. The seeds, and again, their seeds will be local, like Mama said. So you don't have to worry that they're going to be giving you something that won't necessarily grow well in your area. It will be fitted or suited to your zone.
And I know sometimes they even come to your own home to help you. I know right now it's probably not happening, but you can send them pictures, you can send them messages, you can contact them online, and they'll answer any questions that you may have. And if they don't have the answer at the moment, they'll get back to you for sure.
Yeah, they're a great resource. They also do soil testing. That's another thing that you actually don't even have to go in person. You can do that now. What's recommended is that you take soil samples from throughout your gardening area, not just in one area, because you want to get the most comprehensive result. So if you know, you're planning on planting in a certain area, you want to grab the soil from all around that area, and then you can package it up and you just mail it to them. You can go online or give them a call, and they'll give you an address to send it to. And then you just send it off, and they will test your soil, and then you'll know what your soil is deficient in, what you'll need. So that will also help you be more successful with your garden, so that you know what types of plants will thrive in the type of soil that you have.
Yeah, and I don't know we can maybe touch a little bit on the topic. How does planting your own garden at home in today's Earth Day, how can we help our planet by planting a garden at home?
So I think that one of the things that we were talking about earlier was that, you know, that cycle. You want to keep that cycle going. And by doing that, you know, like Candace had mentioned before, we're reducing greenhouse gas emissions by reducing the need for long distance transport for food. If you're growing your own food, you don't need that. You're also reducing your own footprint by not traveling as much because you don't have to travel to get your food. So you're knocking those two things out. You've also got you know, the fact that you're helping your own area, your own soil, and your own you know, in your own community by planting things and composting. Did you want to add to that, Candace?
I was going to say the exact same thing. Like, you don't have to go to the grocery store as often. So that's cutting down on carbon emissions right there.
Yeah, and then you can help promote too native plants. I went to a local mom and pop hardware store that is close to me, and I bought some seeds there that are all locally sourced. So you can do that as well. You know, you get the seeds either from, you know, an extension program, a seed exchange, or like I did at a local shop where they do have local seeds. And so you help, you know, you help that way too, because you are, you're keeping things local and thriving in your own community.
Right. Yeah, and also I want to say that you will, by having a backyard garden, or it doesn't have to be a backyard garden, it can just be a pot outside. It can be your windowsill. I don't want to bring the wrong impression there to have this giant garden outside. You are creating mini gardens for the bees, right? You're bringing food for the bees and for other insects, which will keep us all alive. We need them to survive as humans. I don't want anybody to think that we will survive without insects, even though sometimes they are annoying to us for some reason. We do need them, and our whole ecosystem needs these insects. So by doing that, you are creating these areas for birds and insects to survive. And also, I don't want to sound like we're not supporting local farmers, because we do want to support local farmers. And if anything, we want local farmers to thrive more than anything else. But you having power of growing your own food, it will give you tools that are very important, especially on the days that we live nowadays. They are uncertain, and you want to have some power over the food that some of the food that you can have growing home. And like you're saying, our footprint will be a lot lower. You will be sequestering some carbon through your own plants as well, because the plants will be taking in carbon dioxide and producing oxygen as well. And you'll be feeding your soil, you know, by having different plants in your garden, instead of just having a cemented backyard, or instead of just having nothing, right? It's you're helping the environment around you, and plants also purify air. So you will be doing a difference.
And like you mentioned too, it's important to pollinator gardens are important too. So you know, it's good that we're, you know, focusing on fruits and vegetables, but it's also good you know, to go ahead and have something, if you can, for those pollinators, because we need them to pollinate plants.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to start my vertical garden though. I know it's a little bit cold outside still. Now that I saw all the plants in my neighbors dying, I'm afraid.
Oh man.
But hopefully the next week or two, I'll try to. I'm still looking for a spot where to put the vertical garden, so we can start doing those out there. It should be fun. Let's see what comes up.
Are you going to start it with seeds like Candace and I did, or are you going to put seedlings in there already?
I have some seedlings, those I've been showing you, but they'll probably all mostly be used in the soil. I don't know. It depends how I plan I haven't planned my backyard garden yet. I'm usually just the type of person just, all right, last minute, I'm gonna throw some things here, some things there. Not very organized, I'm not proud of that.
No, I'm the same way.
But I'm trying to think of things that would grow best on the vertical garden compared to just the soil. Obviously, I'm not going to grow beans in the vertical garden, or maybe cherry tomatoes, but not like a big large tomato plant. Candace, do you have any ideas for better things to grow
That's
in
what
the vertical garden?
I planted cherry tomatoes, and then I planted zucchini and cucumbers because I thought I could train the vines, to go around the garden.
Also, you have a spot they can, okay.
Yeah, and then also planted watermelons. I've got all these vines that I'm envisioning going everywhere. And then in one of them I planted just herbs. So we'll see how everything works out.
Herbs are a really good one for the vertical garden.
Yeah,
that's all I did. I just put herbs in mine. I was hoping that they would do really well. Candace said, "Don't give up," and I'm not giving up. And I have to say, I've had these seedlings out there. Some of them I planted, because I'm not the most organized with my gardening. I did plant them at different times, but I want to say that some of the ones that I planted well before others, even though they were the same kind of plant, the ones that I planted like a week later sprouted and the other ones didn't. But then I see if I keep going, if you don't give up, that some of them have started sprouting.
Yeah, it's true, because I have had my seedlings in the pots. Well, not seedlings, that nothing grew, but some of them it's been like 3 weeks, and only now they're starting to come up. So I think it's like that thing of making sure you have enough warmth outside, make sure that the soil reaches a certain temperature, and sometimes just the seed, it doesn't soak up the moisture as quickly, and it takes a little bit longer, or it doesn't get enough sun. It's interesting how these seeds function. It's like they have a brain, and they're like, yeah, wait, it's a little bit cold still for me to come out. Give me just one more minute, one more minute, So it's interesting, especially as the seeds get older, because some of my seeds have been saved over the years. Some of those took a little bit longer to sprout.
And I want to mention again that I didn't mention it yet today, but if anybody wants any seeds, please contact us. You can email makinvegans@writeme.com, or you can just leave us a message below, or send us a message on Instagram or on Facebook. You can write any one of us. We'll get those seeds to you. You're still in time for planting. And I wanted to mention too that you can plant throughout. So you need to plant again, right? Once you plant that first time and you're going to harvest these things, but you're going to want to plant again so that you can harvest again. So it's not like you just plant the one time and it's done. So you want or you need some seeds, let us know. We will get those to you.
Right. A lot of the vegetables take 2 to 3 months to,
Mature.
before they, mature. There we go. Before you can harvest them. But I mean, that's
Yeah.
not really that long.
Yeah. Especially like for me here up in Jersey, it's a little bit colder, so it takes a little bit longer for things to kind of take off. But once the sun comes out, things move really quickly.
Yeah.
But things like tomatoes sometimes take a while, and peppers take a while. But but it's crazy. Once the tomatoes start to mature, and you see 1, 2, 3, it's like before you know it, you have like 100. It's like, where does this all come from?
Yeah,
Why
and you
didn't
got to
you
get
start
them
earlier?
before the bugs do.
Oh yeah, I have I have I forgot the name of it. A groundhog. A groundhog is starting to come around, and they eat the tomatoes.
Oh man, we have
last year they
deer.
did. Last year he did.
We have deer like crazy here, and bunnies. We have rabbits everywhere.
Oh. Yeah, and they just ate my neighbor's parsley. They ate almost the whole plant.
Oh.
So I guess he needed to freshen up his breath.
I have never seen a groundhog. That's crazy.
No, yeah. We have one in the area.
Well, I just I want to say that we're going to keep going with this program.
Yes.
We want to keep sharing information, answer any questions that anybody has. Please share our information. If you like our videos, please share them with others so that we can share this information. You can find Armando on Facebook and Instagram on New Jersey Climate Save Movement. And you can find Candace also on Facebook and Instagram on Secondhand Soil. Learning While Growing is you can find information for that on Making Vegans and also on Middle Georgia USA Health Save. Just like I said, please share the information with others so that we can continue with this. And if you do follow along with us, send us pictures, send us videos. Today I just got a video and some pictures from someone who received
nice.
and information from us. So I want to just let you guys know that we are sending this stuff out. Just let us know if you want anything. That's what we're here for. We want to empower you. And if you can't, if you need anything, even if you need something more than seeds, let us know. We will try to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to thank all our sponsors to allow us to do this program for free and provide all the supplies for free. I'll name some. I know I'm going to miss some, so I'm sure Gigi's going to correct me. The Community Foundation of Central Georgia, the University of Georgia Extension, Well Fed World, Making Vegans, and Create Macon. Gigi, what else am I missing?
I know, I think I'm covering. No, that was it. So, and then of course, we have the Secondhand Soil and New Jersey Climate Save Movement.
It's a pleasure.
So, and then of course, we have wonderful support from Augusta Save Movement, the Animal Save,
Yay!
the Climate Save Movement, and the Health Save Movement out from Augusta, Georgia. And we're really grateful for your support and all of the help that you have given us.
Yeah, they're allowing us to be live right now and keeping us all three here. So thank you so much.
Yes. And just keep with us. Mondays, our videos come out at 4 o'clock on YouTube. On Wednesdays, we go live to answer any questions that you may have about gardening or plant-based nutrition. And again, just share so that we can continue to make this possible. Again, whatever you need, let us know. We have been fortunate enough to have sponsors that are allowing us to provide you with, you know, some things that you need to start your own garden. Again, thanks to the sponsors. So it will be no cost to you. Just let us know, and we'll try to make it happen.
Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.